are we in, girlies? Advent. And we're in the fourth Sunday. Okay. Most precious Savior, you are with us and every day. Thank you for your words this morning in the divine service. We now begin our Sunday school learning of seeing how you work through and with us in our adolescent years and our future ahead of us. In his precious name we call upon. Amen. All right. We always begin with what? To the board. Your eyes to the board. Can anybody read the question?
How do you choose a leader?
Okay, how do you choose a leader? Each one of you are going to give me, how do you choose a leader in all vocations, spiritual or secular? That is. Anybody? Because, see, you remember, I don't do all the talking. I want to hear your comments. And we want to get done. Hi out there and online. Sorry, forgot to introduce. But we're going to have treats afterwards. But I'm not telling you what they are.
Okay, how to choose
So we'll go from there. I knew that would wake somebody up.
How to choose a spiritual leader is,
Think of people in your lives.
People who have a big influence on you and like.
Oh, wait. Say that again, Miss Nevaeh. Say hi to everybody out there. Here's the girls. We're having such great fun. But Nevaeh, did you had something that was worthwhile to say? Please say it louder. You can take your mask down so I can hear you.
Somebody that has a big influence in your life, and
that's
that.
What you qualify a leader would be.
Yeah. And like teaches you things and sticks with you and like helps you.
Okay. Ashlyn?
I was gonna.
Everybody's seeing you online.
I was gonna say what Nevaeh said.
Okay.
Like,
Riley, you have anything?
Someone who leads you forth in your faith and keeps you strong and like helps you day to day to keep you strong in your faith and to keep you safe and healthy.
Okay. What about in the secular realm where your dad and your moms are and your aunts or other people outside of the church? How do you view their leadership?
I view it as very important because they help us grow up.
Okay.
To be good people.
Okay. And in what way?
Not be bad.
They teach us skills that'll help us
Yeah.
in the day-to-day life.
Okay. Nevaeh, do you know of anybody that, like your auntie, she took on a new job at the post office. What kind of skill, what kind of boss do you hope for her? That you would hope for, being the person you are, a Christian, and, a secular human being. What would you expect her boss to treat her? Let me go that right.
With respect.
Yeah, with respect. Anything else?
To actually give her normal human hours instead of making her work for 15 hours.
Yes, that is. We're going to talk about that. There are 4 types of leadership skills that some people have. Okay. And I want you to read the Bible passage, one of you. I don't know. Who wants to read?
I will.
Okay, and say the location that you're reading, okay?
Romans 8:28. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good. For those who are called according to his purpose.
Okay. So the purpose for some people is leadership, okay? If you don't have a good leader, you won't have the skills that you just said, Riley. You won't learn those, you won't grow up with the proper way of doing a job. You may do the job, but you'll do it halfway because they don't care if you learn it or not, okay? And so when Romans says all things work for the good of all who
For those who are called according to his purpose.
according to his purpose. So what have you learned in here? His purpose is for you as an employee of a job, possibly a leader in life, because one day I pray that you guys will teach Sunday school or you help out in Vacation Bible School. I know you do. Some of you do. What other leadership skills do you think that you would like to be in?
Babysitting.
Okay.
I signed up for a volunteer thing this summer. Sadly, because of COVID, they weren't taking volunteers, but
Sad. Yeah.
family museum.
Was what?
Family museum.
Oh, yeah. So you have to have, but
Oh!
what kind of skills would you have to be in that leadership if they give you a position of, taking care?
Being able to listen and do what is being asked of you.
And you should like
Okay.
children.
And you should like children. Yeah. A leader is liking the people that they work with or they're around, okay? If Pastor Golter is a spiritual leader, right? Not a secular, because he doesn't work in a secular world, okay? So if the Lord didn't equip him with the skills he needed, okay, he would not be able to preach, teach, or administer at all, period. He's had many skills that he's been at. In our church, there's a big church body. There's up here, and it's where the president is of our church body, and then all the people that take care of our church body, the money, the missionary. Well, he was the head of the missionary, the people that were overseas, and he would go overseas. He went a lot. He was gone to 18 countries in 3 years, okay? And he saw a lot. He had to be a good leader. He had to know what he was saying for the church body. And that was preaching, that they made sure that they knew the word the way we did, okay, for Lutherans. And so God put him in that place with the skills that he had when we lived in Colorado for 9 years. He led 3 states. And there were 68 churches in those 3 states. So he had to always be in that mode of being a leader. And it was challenging, it was frustrating, and it was rough at times because he had to do things that people don't appreciate. And so, but the most of all was preaching the word and just helping them to be a good church body and love each other. There's some churches that don't love each other. And when you're a leader, okay, do you think that a leader should love the people that they serve?
Yes.
And how is that? Think spiritual and secular. When you guys take on a job, your boss is going to be your leader. How do you want him or her to treat you? And think spiritually and wisely. Okay.
Like a person, not just an object they can use to get their work done.
Yeah.
Right. What else? What if a man came up to you, a male boss, and said, Nevaeh, I want you to be the best leader for the team. And I want you to lead them. You show me the skills that you have. So he's given you a responsibility that, do you think you could handle it? And would you tell him honestly, I can't handle that. I don't have the skills. Can you tell him that? Or you would just say, sure, I can do it.
I mean, maybe, but like if I didn't know them that well, I would probably be very awkward, not very sociable.
So would you be honest with your boss and say, I don't have those skills.
Yeah.
If you help me, I will try. You know, he knows your character. He knows you're on time. He knows you're always, you know, doing the job to the best of your ability. And he sees that skill in you. See, that's another way a leader sees those skills in each one of you. Like, you know, you girls are good readers. Well, I know you are because you read here. So that's a skill that has to be learned. A lot of people don't read well, okay? In this day and age, there's not very many good readers. And that means adults as well, okay? But, which is, you know, sad, I think, because they don't read very much in school, or they don't, you know, I think Trinity makes you read, don't they? And that makes a difference. My kids are good readers because they're Lutheran school. They had to read. You guys do spelling still to 8th grade?
It's up to 5th grade, and then once you're in middle school, they don't do it.
Oh, okay. So do you do definitions of words? You don't? Oh my gosh, my son used to absolutely he'd come with a list, and I'm going, oh, and here I was a mother going, oh, I have to listen to it. But it was good because he was a good writer and he was a good reader. So I listened to his definitions of these long words, and I go, oh my gosh, will you ever use this word? Well, he doesn't ever use those words. Not even in college did he use it. So, but he learned it at that time. So, but getting back to a leader, tell me if you had a dad that was a leader. Some of you probably do have. Your grandpa was a pilot, I believe. Yeah, a pilot. Okay. What if he didn't tell his co-pilot when he got in the cockpit, you can take a nap, I'll do the control, and something went wrong? And the co-worker was, would that be a good advice to the co-worker? Absolutely. You know how many lives on that plane are? See the responsibility of a pilot? He's looking out for everybody. And I don't know. Your dad, what does your dad do? Ashlyn? Okay. And he leads a group, doesn't he? Isn't he an overseer, like an overseer?
Yeah.
What does he do?
I don't really know.
You don't
He
know?
does a lot of things.
Yeah, see,
I only remember. Well, he says logistics a lot.
logistics. Ooh, that's.
I don't know
It's
if
on his own? Does he
well,
work on his own?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. We'll have to find out about that because, you know, if he's in a leading position, he has a lot of. Do you think that your
But
dad
yeah.
has responsibilities to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has he ever talked to you about it?
He talks to my mom at dinner.
Yeah. That's the normal for mom and dads. They talk amongst themselves about their jobs, you know. We always talk with our kids because it's just like, you know.
And then my mom complains about her people because she complains about a patient.
Yeah, that they don't take care of them. Their oral health. Yeah, and that's really discouraging. Yeah, she's kind of a leader in a way that she gives the patients skills that they need to learn, because I don't know if you floss, but there's a skill to do that, and if you don't learn it, you'll forget it. I'll dump it out the window. Okay. Yeah, and taking care of teeth is a skill, but you know, you either learn it or you don't. You brush your teeth or you don't brush your teeth. So, but anyway, Riley, your dad is a computer or something, isn't
He
he?
works for communications engineering company, so he does like computers.
Is he on his own?
No, he has a team.
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, tell us. Well, how
I don't
he
know.
runs his team.
Well, I don't know if he's the boss of it. I don't know exactly what he does. But I know my grandpa and my uncle own a car place, so they fix cars.
Oh, cool.
So they own one of the Goodyears in
Here in Davenport.
over in Moline.
Oh,
Or
cool.
yeah, Moline.
So they're leaders
They're
of,
right by
a,
the
of,
mall.
of a group of people. So now, what if you okay, maybe you don't know your mom and dad's at the jobs they do, okay? Say if your mom or your dad or your grandmas or your grandpa would treat these people that they worked with an attitude of, you'll do as I say and you will say nothing.
They wouldn't like them.
Is that a good trait to have as a leader?
No.
I mean, what if Pastor Golter stood up in the pulpit and said, okay, all you out there, I don't see you doing a thing in this church. You're worthless. What would you think of someone from the pulpit saying something that to you? Would you respect that person, or would you give him the honor of who he is? Now, don't say it isn't my husband. Say it's somebody else. Pastor Vogt. If you heard him say that, how would you feel about that? I bet you would say, I like what he said.
No.
I'd question it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. See, when you take a leadership, God gave many prophets responsibility to lead the people. They either rejected it or they went with it. And remember Pastor Golter read in the sermon? Well, some of you weren't here, so. Yeah. Gabriel came to Mary, and Gabriel was one of the ranking angels. Okay, he was a ranking high angel. And he chose to go. God commanded him to go to Mary to do a job. And that was the most important job in his life. Riley, can you tell the girls what that job was?
To tell people like good news
And what good news did Gabriel tell to someone?
that he told Mary and Joseph that Mary was gonna have a child.
Yeah, that would rule the nation. And not rule like a leader would rule, okay? So, have you girls heard of these four words? And in school, you probably your teacher probably has spoken of these, about a passive person, passive. What would a passive leader be like?
Well, I actually,
A passive person they don't want to lead, they just want to be helpers.
Yeah.
Like when you come to church and you volunteer, you don't come to lead, you come to what?
Volunteer.
Help out.
Oh,
Help
yeah.
out, like when you become women of the church when you get older. Well, now too, you guys can help out any way you want in this church. Like, you girls could help out in Altar Guild. You know what the Altar Guild does? Because this is how people learn. You have to immerse yourself in something that you would like to do. If you don't, what's the point in life? See, you can help out at Altar Guild by saying, hey, how would you tell me, how would you go to an altar girl leader and say how you would like to help this leader in helping out in altar guild, say in the church, because we need helpers like that. There always can't be chiefs, there has to be Indians. And then this, have you ever heard of that? The chief always says what goes and the Indians follow.
Okay.
That is probably not cool for this day and age, but that's a saying.
Never heard that.
You haven't?
I haven't, but I understood it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
Yeah, I understand.
okay. Yeah. It's like, okay. It's like a, but anyway, it's today it's so not cool, okay? But it's only in joking, it's not, I don't mean that, the Indians followed, but that's what they did. They followed their leader. So like I've said, if you go to the altar guild lady that runs it, is the leader of that, which is the person in this church is Mrs. Shocker. Okay. She oversees the altar guild. So, and you went to her and said, Mrs. Shocker, I would like to help out in altar guild in any way that I can. What would you like for her? What would you like to hear her say to you?
That would be nice. I need some help around here. What do you want to do?
Good. Right. That's the way, and if she said, well, we don't need anything at this time.
Then I would say, okay, but if you do need help, you know where to find me.
Good. You've got some skills that you've learned from someplace.
My mother
Ashley.
and my father.
Yes.
And
Those
my
are that's the attitude that we have as Christians, or as just as a civilian, yeah. So Riley, tell me, if somebody came up to you and said, Riley, you have the skills to lead the girls' choir, what would you say? Because if somebody saw your skill and said, would you be a people-oriented person, a passive or productive or progressive in that area?
I'd probably say maybe in the future, but right now I kind of don't know if I could exactly do that.
So you'd be kind of like the passive person, just say, not now, maybe later. And that's okay, but okay, I think just like in Vacation Bible Study, all of you could lead the game playing or the sing along, right?
Yeah.
How old are you girls?
I'm
13.
13.
Yeah,
Did you say you're 15?
13.
I'm the same age as you.
Yeah, so anyway, well, good. Well, so give me a downfalls of being a leader.
You have to do responsibilities that sometimes you don't always want to do, but you should do them anyway because you want to do.
People rely
Great answer.
People rely on you, and if you do something wrong, they'll blame it all on you.
Right.
Or if you tell them to do something and it's wrong and they will get in trouble, then you feel like it's all your fault.
Because you were the one in charge of them, right?
You're the one who told them.
So what if you fail as a leader? How are you going to
You
better equip yourself?
I wouldn't be a leader unless I know for sure I'm ready to lead.
Okay. Well, we're going to learn about 3 or 4 people from the scriptures. Okay. And I'm going to tell you one. There was a priest named Eli, and I want you to go to, let's go to Samuel, 1 Samuel. He was a priest, and during that time, priests and judges were the people that led the Israelites in right doing and keeping within the laws of the commandments. They were to teach everybody what that God had commanded them to do, and that was to be the leaders of the people of the world, and which was the Israelites at that time. Okay, so I want somebody to read. Where was it?
What thingy? But I just know. Because I looked at
Okay. Oh yeah, here it is. 12.
12. Oh, I'm already
Verse
there.
2. I mean, chapter 2, verse 12. Okay.
Can I read? I'm just getting
Wait,
the
just a minute. Let me see. Let me find it again. Okay. Let's go to 22.
What?
Chapter 22?
No, chapter 2, 1 Samuel 2,
22.
22.
Okay.
And this is the priest Eli, and he was a leader. And look, this was a consequence of his, okay? It's a sad one, but it's a consequence when we are placed in a position of leadership, okay? Go ahead, Miss. Go ahead.
She's reading.
You.
Oh.
Oh, you were going to read it, Manava? I don't care who reads it. Go ahead. Go ahead, Manava.
Now Eli was very old, and he kept hearing all that his sons were doing to all Israel, and how they lay with the women who were serving at the entrance to the tent of meeting. And he said to them, "Why do you do such things? For I hear of your evil dealings from all these people. No, my sons, it is no good report that I hear of people of the Lord spreading abroad. If someone sins against a man, God will meditate for him. But if someone sins against the Lord, who can intercede for him?"
Okay? And then go back to verse 17 of that same chapter.
Okay. Thus the sin of the young men was very great in the sight of the Lord, for the men treated the offering of the Lord with contempt.
Okay. Do you know what contempt means?
At peace.
Contempt means
Oh no, that's content.
contentment.
Yeah.
Contempt means that they disregarded what the Lord had told their father for them to do for the people. So if your boss says to you, I want you to charge more than what it's worth, I want you to do that.
Well, kind of.
Isn't that what people do all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, when people do that, they're taking from the people that probably work hard, that, may have some struggles and don't take any consideration. That's what contentment has. No consideration for anything. Okay. They just do what they want, what's best for them. They profit. Okay. Eli's 2 boys, this is their names, Hopi and Phineas. Okay. And then you're going to go down to verse 33. Ashlyn, would you like to read that? Chapter 2, verse 33.
The only one of you whom I shall not cut off from my altar shall be spared to weep his eyes out to grieve his heart. And all the descendants of your house shall die by the sword of men.
Continue.
And this that shall come upon your 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas, shall be the sign to you. Both of them shall die on the same day, and I will rise up for myself a faithful priest, who shall do according to what is in my heart and in my mind. And I will build him a sure house, and he shall go.
He shall go.
And he shall go in and out before my anointed before. And everyone who is left in your house shall come to implore him for a piece of silver or a loaf of bread, and shall say, please put me in one of the priest's places, that I may eat a morsel of bread.
We'll disregard that part, but what did you hear in verse 34? What happened for what was the result of the priest Eli, yes.
They were gonna die on the same day.
And guess what, guys? They did. God, Eli was a priest. That would be like Pastor Golton. Okay. If his 2 boys, and everybody in the church knew it, lived evil lives, would steal, would lie, would take drugs, would get you guys to fall away and say, oh, forget that nonsense, I mean, there are kids like that in the priest of all believers, believe you me, okay, in the church body, and with pastors too. We're all sinners, but there are kids like that, and some kids do turn you away from your faith. But when it comes to pastor and his kids, whoa, take heed. This is what happened to this priest's kids, okay? And it happened to David's child, his first child.
He cut with Bathsheba.
His first child was cut. His legs got cut. No, his leg didn't cut, but he was punished. I mean, he got, his consequences were the actions of the dad, okay? I'm not saying that it doesn't happen today, but because it does, but in different ways. We don't see it as children of God. I don't think we are wise to it yet. Not until you fully grasp the Word of God will you understand the consequences of your actions. Okay? The consequences of your actions are the result of you not listening to your parents, to the leaders that have God has placed before you, is your teachers, your boss, could be your aunt, your grandma. For me, it's my parents, it's my sisters, and I don't have a boss now, but those are who I listen to. If they see me doing things that I shouldn't be doing, then they better be good leaders to me, not just say so, yes people. I mean, you know what yes people are?
They say yes to everything.
They go, oh, Riley, I don't care what you do. You can do it. You can have as many boyfriends as you want, or you can do whatever you want with your life, your body, whatever, okay? Bosses are going to lead you to things that are unethical, but hopefully that you'll get the skills from your mom and your dad and your peers, okay, that know how to lead you in your walk, okay? You girls right here go to school together. I pray and hope that you always will turn to each other in times of trials, because you're going to have trials. Believe you me, Christians have. You know why you're going to have trials out as being a leader or in your vocation? Can you think? Think critical, because this is very important.
People not or questioning what you believe and how you do things.
They're going to watch every motive that's behind you, because you have been raised as a Christian young woman, okay? And guess what? You're going to be watched more than secular people, because guess who has their hearts?
Boss, no. The devil.
Got it. Okay. Satan doesn't want leaders that are upright, that are do the right thing morally, do the right thing for others. Satan wants that leader to say, it's about me and me only. Okay, I could say that too to you guys. You go, I'm the best Sunday school teacher in the world, and disregard the other Sunday school teacher. See, that's not who we are. See, we are to treat others as we want to be treated. These boys disregarded the whole church. Their demise was death. That was judgment of God. Okay. All right. Let's go to one other one. Let me see. Genesis. Okay. Let's read about that is Joseph. Let's read about Joseph. This was the other extreme. Okay. Do you know who Joseph was? His daddy was Jesse. In the scripture, he had 12 brothers. That's the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, 12 brothers. And what did they do to him one day?
They took his coat and they sold him to.
What did they do to him though? What did they do, the brothers? Because they were so jealous because their daddy favored Joseph in a way, kind of favored it because he was smart, he was good looking and stuff. One day the brothers got him and put him in a cistern in Israel. Put him in a cistern, a hole in the ground. I've seen those cisterns. They're water. They're where they hold water. Well, the holes are deep. I mean, you look down in these cisterns and they're dark. Okay. Well, those brothers threw him in that hole. Okay. So along came some Egyptians, slaves, I think. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was. And they must have heard him, in this hole. So they stopped, picked him up out of it, got him out of it, and took him to Egypt. Well, guess what? He grew up in that knowledge of Egyptian. He was a Hebrew, and a Christian, and a very devout, because his daddy raised him in the Christian faith. Say, okay, like you guys, okay. And so he knew that, but he was young when they did this to him. And so when he was growing up, like you girls, he grew up in the Egyptian knowledge, became very smart in every fashion. See, that's experience. When you guys go to your job, you're going to get inspired. You're going to like some jobs, and some jobs you won't. You will. The Lord's going to lead you in whatever you guys choose. He will lead you. You just ask him. Okay, that's the whole picture. So Joseph, this is so cool, grew up in all that education, smart and everything. Guess what the Pharaoh made him? Does anybody recall that story?
Yes, I do.
He was in charge of something.
Yeah.
He was in charge of the whole providence. large, okay, large. For 7 years, the grains, every produce blossomed, okay, blossomed under his leadership. He was a kind leader. He did the right thing. He loved his stepfather, which is the Pharaoh, but he always yearned for his daddy and his brothers because he knew what his brothers did to him. Because guess what God put in his heart? Love in his heart for his brother, his family that did him wrong. But how God blessed him was giving him all this leadership skills. So there was a famine after 7 years. His family was back in Goshen. That's where the land, where they lived. We're running out of food, grains, whatever. Well, they knew the only place we can get grain is in Egypt. And Egypt is in Africa. In Africa, if you don't know that. I didn't know that for a long time. Until I kept, I don't know if you guys have ever thought about that. Have you ever thought about where Egypt is?
No.
It's in Africa. It's crazy. And so is the Red Sea. Yeah, it's just, I'm just, see, I learned that here just like, I don't know. Well, because when we went over to Israel, you know, you go, oh gosh, this is where these things happen. You know, and your mind goes there. And I go, oh, yeah, right. How didn't I know that? So anyway, get back to Joseph. Joseph knew of this, what happened to him. Well, the daddy sent some of the brothers up to Egypt to get some food, grain, whatever. Well, they saw their brother was ahead of all this kingdom. They were in fear of his leadership, knowing he would do something to harm them.
I thought they didn't know it was him at first.
They didn't. Yeah, you're right. They didn't know him. They didn't. He recognized them, but they didn't recognize him. But see, how could you not know your little Delaney? You know what I'm saying? Is it Delaney? Delaney. You know, after all well, you change, you know, and Joseph changed and looked. He was a handsome man, they said. So anyway, they went and asked, and they were in fear of what would happen. Because, when they recognized who he was, eventually, they knew who he was. What do you think he treated them like when they came and asked him for grain to survive, to live? How do you think he treated them?
Nicely.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'm pretty sure he treated them like everyone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, knowing who they were, and this is what he said. He goes, I want you to go to your father. This is how he kind of didn't want them to know who he was. I want you to go back to your father, and I want you to bring back the youngest child. Guess who that was?
Him. No.
Wasn't it like Benjamin?
Benjamin. Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah. I was going to say David, but it was Benjamin. Yeah, Benjamin. So they just like, how does he know our brother? Well, they didn't take it to light. They took it lightly, and he says, and bring back, whatever. And so he sent them away. And when they came back with Benjamin, he was full of tears because his brother he loved very much. It was from the same mom. Him and Benjamin were from the same mom, and these others were not from the same mom. Okay, so his little brother, he loved his little brother very much. He loved the other brothers too, but with his own brother, he was really, he broke down to no other. He could have done something else to his brothers, but he didn't. he said, go and get my father and bring him back to me. And so guess what? They all lived with an abundance.
Did Benjamin know who he was?
Probably, yeah. But they never say about that. They just give, certain things the Lord gives us to know, which that would be, would Benjamin, yeah, well, he probably told him, I'm your brother, I'm your big brother, but see, the heart of Joseph could have been totally different to his brothers, but they weren't. And so that's the story of you live according to what God has given you. If he gives you leadership, you use it wisely. Use the skills that your daddy and your mommy has taught you, or whoever teaches you, grandma, auntie, and lean on each other when you need help. Don't be arrogant about being in leadership. Leadership isn't arrogance. It's humbleness, kindness, compassionate, and we're not going to like everybody, which is a sad thing. But if you're a good leader, you'll lead with the gifts that God has given you. Common sense, that's number one, common sense, compassion, love, and kindness. Because who is that for you in your life right now? Should be the ultimate person in your life. Compassion, humble, kindness, love, gentleness.
Jesus.
Your Lord. He gives you abundantly, okay? And when you're a leader, he'll give that abundantly to you. If and when you ask. Remember, you pray for all that you want. He may give it to you, he may not. Right? So guess what I'm doing for you girls? Praying for you. Because I want you to be good leaders in the world. I don't care how it is, but that's my prayer for you. I want you to know that, okay? Because who knows who's praying for you? Who knows? But I want you to know that, that's in my heart. Ever since I met you girls when I first came here, you have been in my prayers, prayers, just because what I saw in you girls, and I remember the first day when I taught Sunday school here. I mean, it's nerve-wracking because you come to a church, you don't know anybody. You all know each other, okay? And so I prayed to the Lord, I loved you when I first saw you, and I still love you. I do. And so I just want you to know, teaching you is an honor. And I take that leadership seriously. So I just want to say we're going to have a good year next year, hopefully, and we can, do things. I want you to serve in ways that I don't know if you've been able to do, but I told Jody I want to do servant things for the community somehow. And I told you girls that too. So, but anyway, that is leadership, okay? It's in all parts of your life, okay? All right, let's close with prayer. Who wants to pray today? Okay. We're going to have a closing prayer, and Nevaeh's going to pray for us. So thanks, everybody, for out and online, and we'll see you in 2021. Nevaeh?
Dear Jesus, thank you for this wonderful day, for us to get together and learn more about you and how to be a leader and how to choose a leader. Please help us with our readings today at church, and please help us to learn more about you and to have a good rest of the day and a good Christmas. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Nevaeh.